I'm Daniel Williams, field organizer and legislative specialist with Equality Texas. We only have 24 days left in the 83rd regular legislative session. And today, I'd like to talk to you about the calendars committees. Now, while the calendars committees may sound like the group that gets to pick Miss July, it's actually one of the most powerful committees in the Texas House. See, every bill has to be heard by one of the House's 38 standing committees or 3 select committees. If the committee that hears the bill thinks that it's a good idea and should become law, then the committee votes to report favorably, which is basically a recommendation to the entire House of Representatives that they should vote for it too. But before the House can vote on the bill, it has to be scheduled for a vote. And that's what the calendars committees do. They schedule bills that have been voted out of the other committees and determine when they will receive a vote on the House floor. Now, non-controversial bills, things that no one really could oppose, go to the 13-person local and consent calendars committee. And bills that might have some opposition go to the 15-person calendars committee. And that's where things get interesting. Because here at the end of the session, there are a number of deadlines. If bills don't reach a certain step in the process before those deadlines, they die. 3 of the most important deadlines are next week. Monday is the last day for House committees to vote out House bills. If they're not voted out by midnight, they die. Tuesday is the last day for the calendars committee to schedule the bills before it for consideration on the floor. Anything not scheduled by midnight is dead. Thursday is the last day for the House as a whole to take the first of 2 required votes on any of those bills that might have opposition. Anything that hasn't been brought up on the House floor by midnight is dead. So, needless to say, a lot of bills are going to die next week. Quickly, let's look at 3 bills that are alive and kicking that Equality Texas is watching. 2 bad ones, 1 good one. HB 1568 by Drew Springer of Munster would require the immediate closure of any school district, including junior college school districts, that the state attorney general believes have violated the state constitution. This bill started off as Springer's attempt to punish Pflugerville ISD for offering health benefits to the same gender partners of their employees, a grand total of 5 of them, but it's morphed into an attempt to massively expand the powers of the Attorney General and anoint Greg Abbott the Grand High Czar of all schools. The problem is that AG opinions were never intended to be judicial rulings. They are simply legal advice from the state's top lawyer to governmental entities in the state. There's no appeals process for AG opinions. There's no jury. There's no oversight of any kind. AG opinions are just that. Opinions. They're not supposed to have the weight of law. What's more, Springer's bill, if passed, would hamper the ability of the AG to do his job. There are lots of people who can request an AG opinion about the actions of various school districts, and most of the time, those requests are about minor administrative actions. For instance, in the past, the AG has ruled that school districts have violated the state constitution by using a distribution of permanent school funds to pay down bond debt, or by paying the legal fees of an employee who sued the school. Here's one where the AG said the school had violated the Constitution by employing as the chief of school police a person who also served on the city council. Oh, this one's great. This school was found in violation of the Constitution for not performing their school raffle just the right way. Now, school districts, particularly smaller districts who can't employ full-time legal counsel, need this kind of legal advice in order to avoid lawsuits. And the Attorney General needs to be able to give this kind of advice without accidentally closing the entire school district down. Springer's bill doesn't allow for that. If HB 1568 passes, the next school that screws up their raffle will be immediately shut down. With the bad, there's good. HB 2403 by Mary Gonzalez of Clint would equalize the state's Romeo and Juliet defense so that teens in same-gender relationships are treated the same way as teens in opposite-gender relationships, and ensures that parents, not the state, have the responsibility for instilling their values regarding physical intimacy. Both of these bills are currently before the Calendars Committee. Now, also of concern is HB 360 by Matt Krause of Fort Worth. This bill would prohibit colleges from requiring that officially recognized student organizations have non-discrimination policies. Any non-discrimination policy. Representative Krause has actually filed a bill designed to ensure that college clubs can put up "No blacks or Jews" signs without fear of retribution. And somehow he managed to get the members of the House Higher Education Committee to agree with him. The bill is intended to give homophobes permission to witch hunt LGBT students out of their clubs, but the way it's written would undo over 100 years of civil rights advancements. HB 360 is out of committee and will be before the Calendars Committee within the next couple of days. So the question now is, when will the committee schedule these bills for consideration? See, if they're scheduled for the end of the day on Thursday, the last day for the House to consider the bills, they'll probably die at midnight without ever reaching the floor. But if they're scheduled for earlier in the week, they'll probably make it to the floor and may or may not pass a vote of the whole House. For now, the fate of these bills lies entirely with the 15 members of the Calendars Committee. We're watching them very carefully, and we'll let you know if any action is needed. Oh, and if you're wondering who actually gets to pick the pictures in the official Texas House calendar, it's the wife of the Speaker of the House, who's currently Julie Strauss. Until next week, I'm Daniel Williams, legislative specialist and field organizer with Equality Texas.